Right everyone, it is Finn here and welcome back to a brand new video where today we're going to be talking about the brand new man in charge of the Black Stars of Ghana, Chris Hughton. And first of all, what an absolutely brilliant decision this is from the Ghanaian national team. As you know, about a week ago it was announced that the former Brighton manager will take charge of the Black Stars, and as a manager who has achieved some really top things at a very high level of football, I think this is an absolutely brilliant move and we could see Ghana lift silverware come the African Cup of Nations.
Yes! My turn, assholes!
I mean, that kind of gets me excited to think about. As you guys know on this channel, I'm a huge fan of the Black Stars. I have absolutely no idea, it's just the way I feel about them. I mean, the kind of growth and improvement they had over the last year has been tremendously exciting. And to get a Premier League proven manager in that mix, once again, so exciting to think about. Look here, Chris Hughton, as we know, he's managed the likes of Tottenham Hotspurs, Nottingham Forest, Brighton, Newcastle United, once again, some really top teams. And the big question is, can he translate that success over to national team football? That's essentially going to be the topic of today's video, the kind of influence Chris Hughton could have on Ghana. And of course, if you guys like that kind of content, don't forget to subscribe down below so that I know to do more in the future. But obviously, look at Chris Hughton. It's not like he's brand new to this Ghanaian national team, because in 2022, he was announced to be the technical director of Ghana. So over the last year, he's really familiarized himself with this national team. So that kind of transition from technical director to manager shouldn't be too difficult. I will admit though that I will be missing Otto Addo. I thought he did an absolutely brilliant job with Ghana, but obviously after the 2022 World Cup he did have to resign, and there has been a mixed bag of emotions in terms of what the World Cup was. Was it a success for Ghana? Was it a failure? Obviously they didn't make it out the group stage, but I saw a lot of promise in Ghana. I mean, versus South Korea, absolutely brilliant win. Versus Portugal, although they didn't get a win there, we saw a really close and tight contest there. Once again, this Ghanaian national team could really go places, and having a Premier League proven manager once again could only take them further. It was also nice looking at a manager like Chris Hughton. As we know, he's a very defensively good manager, which is exactly what this Ghanaian national team needs. Obviously, looking at them, as I said, at the World Cup, they were brilliant on the attacking front, but defensively, I do have to say that that is their weak point in my opinion.
Unanimously, you are the weakest link. Goodbye.
So of course, if they can score the goals that they have been scoring lately, and if they are able to lock up at the back defensively at the same time, I believe that's exactly what Ghana needs. Obviously that goes down to the fact that Chris Hughton was a defender in his playing days, obviously playing for the Republic of Ireland all those years ago, which, although saying that, he does have a father that is Ghanaian, which once again, also absolutely huge. It's great to have a manager who's actually got a link to the national team. He's not just managing a national team for the sake of managing a national team. He's actually got pride in the roots of being Ghanaian itself. Once again, absolutely gigantic. In terms of what we can expect from Chris Hughton, the kind of style of play he could bring to Ghana. Once again, in terms of his formations, he's used various different formations across all the clubs he's ever managed. But the formation that he seems to be most familiar with is the 4-2-3-1 formation, which is exactly what Ghana uses. Therefore, once again, that transition should not be too difficult. One really interesting thing about his managerial style of play though, which once again, you might think this is slightly old school or maybe slightly outdated of modern day managers, but he doesn't really use attacking fullbacks. He uses fullbacks as defenders.
That's impossible!
Which once again in 2023 sounds absolutely foreign to think about. But of course, if you have the likes of Rahman or Mensah on the left back side and Tariq Lamptey as your right back, as opposed to them running up and down the wing, getting absolutely exhausted, swapping back and forth with the wingers up front, once again, these kind of stay back defensively, which, yes, as I said, might sound outdated. I think it could actually work for Ghana. Once again, defensively, they do need serious improvements, and to have those players stay back in defense could actually help with that problem. I mean, if you look at what Chris Hughton could do here defensively, I mean, if you have, let's say, for example, Walcott as your goalkeeper, with, as I said, Rahman or Mensah as the left back, once again, maybe Rahman, because I find him a bit better defensively, and Lamptey as your right back, with the Mata and Salisu as your two centre backs, as opposed to the centre backs being totally left alone as the fullbacks run back and forth, they do stay back in a more compact back four, which once again, that kind of frees up space throughout the rest of the squad. I mean, if you look at the two central midfielders there, let's say Thomas Partey and someone like Abdul Samid, for example, or whoever they end up using in that central midfield, the fact that the fullbacks do stay back, once again, it allows for more creative space from those midfielders. They don't have to run back and fill those pockets of space in the fullback positions during a counter-attack. Once again, that kind of transitions better, in my opinion, for when they start a counter-attack. Once again, them doing that allows for Mohamed Kudus or whoever whoever plays in that attacking midfield position to stay a bit higher, looking at the wingers such as Jordan Ayew and Andre Ayew, for example. Once again, they're not the youngest wingers out there, so they don't have to run back and forth now that the fullbacks are staying back there. Once again, I think whether the striker, whoever that be, Inaki Williams, whoever they end up getting, once again, I don't know if it impacts them too much, but having your two wingers a lot more rested and doing a lot less work allows them to focus on their attacking play, which could actually bring more goals to them. In terms of new players that could be added to the squad, we have seen Chris Hughton in the past talk to Hudson-Odoi's parents, which once again, whether he'll join the national team, would be absolutely huge. Look, I don't think he's the best player out there, and I don't think he's quite achieved at his age what I thought he would achieve by now, saying that he's still incredibly young and could still have a tremendously bright future. But at the end of the day, I do believe Ghana do need to replace Andre Ayew, and if they can do that with Hudson-Odoi, I think it's a brilliant option. Look, I do think Andre Ayew, once again, absolutely legendary player, will go down as one of Ghana's best players of absolutely all time, but unfortunately he gets too hot-headed way too quickly, hasn't been contributing the way he's needed to in recent tournaments, and because of that, I do think a change is needed. Also, in terms of a striker, once again, you could even move Inaki Williams to play as a winger, because up front we have seen the likes of Eddie Nketiah do really well in the Premier League. There have been talks about him joining the Ghanaian national team, and if you do get a really top manager like Chris Hughton in there, who could kind of convince him to join the national team, once again, absolutely huge. I mean, with new additions such as Hudson-Odoi or Nketiah in the squad, once again, this Ghanaian national team already looks better. Although saying that, I mean, if you look at the squad that could work under Chris Hughton, it's not too far for what they currently have. I do think Chris Hughton is a manager who could just get a lot more out of this group of players. I mean, looking at his first season with Brighton in the Premier League, although they ended 15th place on the Premier League table, they had a better defensive record than West Ham United, Leicester City, and get this, Arsenal. So once again, defensively, I do think that is where the improvement needs to be made here. Once again, we've kind of seen the formation transition to, as opposed to a 4-2-3-1 formation, it can transition to a 4-4-1-1, whichever kind of style of play is needed for the game, I do think Chris Hughton will manage that quite well. But as I said, I do believe this could be the correct man for the job if he kind of, as I said, transitions his familiar style of play from other clubs to national football. But of course, ladies and gentlemen, that's essentially it for today's video. Once again, I know it's a very fast-paced video, but I wanted to get my thoughts and opinions out there. Once again, it's been a while since I've done a Ghanaian national team video, but as you guys know, I always end up enjoying it. So of course, if you guys ended up enjoying it, don't forget to subscribe down below. I don't know if you guys can see this, I am sweating here. It is absolutely boiling hot, and having lights absolutely either way, it doesn't make it easier.
That sounds like a you problem.
But of course, I want you guys to put in the comment section down below, do you think Chris Hughton could win the African Cup of Nations with this Ghanaian national team? Once again, let me know down below. Just say yes, just say no. Let me know what you think about this managerial appointment. But until next time, this has been Finn, FYNN, and I'll see you all very, very soon. Cheers.